house. There we go. We are now public. See if the chat's working. It is. Awesome. So yeah, happy Tuesday. Today I kind of put these thoughts together. Saturday. Hey, buddy. What's going on, man? Put these thoughts together on Saturday. Originally, they revolved around the idea of all of the protests, the riots, the COVID, everything that we've had going on since, let's just say, March 14th in the United States, which is pretty much when the world shut down, or the United States shut down. And then, obviously, like I posted yesterday, my best friend, my kid, Jerry's godparents, my best friend lost his mother to a battle with cancer on Sunday evening. And, and it kind of resonated, today's thoughts really kind of resonated even more after hearing that. And I mean, his whole family was critical for me when I was 12 and my mom had cancer. I was literally at his house every day. They took me in, for pretty much from March when my mom was diagnosed all the way through, till at least the summer when my grandmother came up. Every day after school, no questions asked. I was reminiscing a little bit the last few days. And I was telling Beth a lot of things that she probably never even knew or cared to know. But, one of which was, like when I was going to take bottle rockets over to their house after school one day so that we could light them off. And apparently when you're in 6th grade, you shouldn't have those in your locker. But, for me, it was a really confusing time, and I was just, you didn't even think about that stuff. But she was, his mother was always there to, try to keep me out of trouble. So this kind of tied back in. And, right now there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of suffering, both, for a lot of people personally, both, as far as, from a global perspective. And I think with social media, one of the big things that we oftentimes will see is this victim mentality of I'm hurting, but my pain is my pain is worse than yours. And, and honestly, like a big part of this is we all have successes, we all have failures, we all have pain, we all have suffering. There's no way to say, my pain or my success or, any of this is better than yours. And oftentimes that is lost in social media because it's super easy for everybody to just, I'm only going to post the things that I do that are successful. I'm not going to post my failures because I get 52 likes and people comment and they say, oh my God, that's so amazing. You're so great. And that's going to make me feel good. Or the cry for help of, oh, I have it so hard. And it's like, we all have things that are hard in our life. We all have wins. We all have losses. We all have suffering. We all have that stuff. You have pain. I have pain. Everyone has pain on some level. But to try to play this victim mentality of like, well, my pain's worse than yours. There's no way to measure that. And honestly, it's not constructive. There's no way of coming away from that with growth because it's not a competition. It's not about who has more or who has less. It's about how can we okay, so I have this pain. I have this issue, I have this suffering, I have all of this stuff, right? So how can I grow? How can I improve upon, how can I, again, become 1% better? How can I move the needle forward? How can I develop how can we work together to make sure that my kids don't have that pain, or make sure that I don't experience that pain again, or if I do, I'm more equipped, better equipped to handle it. So it's really important, like the old saying, like real recognizes real, and like the hardcore business aspect in, and it's the same thing. Like, take all the bullshit, take likes away, take the sad face, the smiley face, the hearts, the new emoji of the caring away, and think of like what we all have this pain, right? And if we're talking about, you know, equality, if we're talking about racism, if we're talking about, you know, some of the bills that have been passed and attempted to not be passed, you know, as far as the gay and lesbian community, transgender, any of that stuff, like, yes, those are major issues. But being the victim and, you know, it's I have it so much worse than you, or you have it so much worse than me, that's not constructive. Like, what can we do to constructively grow from that? Like, yes, accepting that, you know what, a lot of minorities do have it a lot worse than a, you know, a white male. And I understand that, but just that as a blanket statement doesn't help us grow. So now it's like, okay, well, what do we have to put in place to help grow? So that's the most important thing that I look at, is it's not about who hurts more. It's about, we both hurt. So how can we collectively work together to grow from that and to make sure that there's less pain, less suffering, less of that. So, you know, and I don't have the answers to a lot of that stuff, but again, this was something that we were talking about. Gus and I were talking about it on our run. Maybe it was on Sunday. And, you know, I said, really, like, people, like, everybody hurts. Everybody is suffering. Like, nobody is, okay, maybe like 2 people are walking away from this whole COVID thing with, you know, greater success, or a handful of people are walking away from it with greater success. We're all suffering, but trying to play the card of, well, like, you know, well, my business is hurting more than yours. And it's like, that's not constructive. Like, that's not going to help. Like, I'm not going to support you any more than I can. And if I can't, then, you know, but I recognize that your business is hurting. I recognize that, you know, your race is hurting. I recognize that, you know, all of that stuff. Now let's collectively work together to move forward in an intelligent way, not with, with a long-term solution in mind, not something to, you know, put a Band-Aid on a dam. So, you know, real recognizes real, but, you know, when it comes to pain, you know, we all have pain, we all have suffering, but none of us have more or less than the other person. There's no way to measure that. You know, we could both get hit by a car. Who's in more pain, me or you? Like, we're both in pain. You know, and it's an individual aspect. And then you have to take that individual aspect and you have to appreciate that someone else has that suffering, and then be willing to help them in any way that you can. And the same goes, you know, if you're on the other end of that, be willing to accept that help, be willing to help in any way that you know, vice versa. So, kind of a different day for me, as far as like my morning, but, you know, that was something that you know, Gus and I were talking about it, and I was like, you know, to me, that's the whole dynamic of social media now is, you know, if you had a camera and you followed me around for a day, you'd be like, that is the most boring life. But then I could take little snapshots and put it on social media, and you'd be like, oh my God, this guy lives an awesome life. Maybe you don't think that with me, but, you know, and that's how it is. So you have to just, you know, don't put all your eggs in the basket of, you know, the people that you follow onto the different social medias. Like, again, there's these old memes of, like, you know, it shows that crystal clear picture and then the chaos in the sides. And that's exactly what it is. It's never what you think it is. So don't be overreactive. Don't utilize them as areas in which you're trying to seek um, approval, or to seek, just that calling out of like, oh, you know, I had to have my tooth pulled today. I hope I don't die. Like, well, I mean, it's a tooth. Why would you? Unless you have some weird condition. But where all of a sudden, like, and a lot of people go on there to seek that, and don't, just be smart with that stuff, because again, like, everybody suffers, everybody has pain, everybody has success. Your success is no better than anyone else's. And all it's going to do is, if you try to push yourself to that level, you're going to start to shut people off who might have looked at you previously as, a role model. And it's like, God, all he ever does is post how awesome all of his life is, and he never has a bad day, and he never misses a workout, and he never does this. And it's like, you miss a workout, and then you're like, I'm never going to be like that person. So, just recognize that stuff. Start to kind of like pull yourself away. I like to say it's like a social, Gus and I were talking about it. I feel that there is going to be a huge social media cleanse in the next few years, where people just kind of say, like, you know what? I mean, I remember the day of Facebook back in like 2008, where it would be like, you had your name. So it'd say like Ed TenEyck, and it's like, is going to the gym to work out. And now it's like your name, and then you're like, let me tell you a story. So, obviously things have changed. I remember when Instagram first came out, there was a girl that sat next to me in physics, all physics class, and just sat there rolling through Instagram for an hour and a half. And I'm like, this chick is literally just looking at someone else's pictures. Basically, like, she's looking at her friend's camera roll. That's the stupidest thing ever. Hey, look at me. Obviously, I'm not one of these tech geniuses. Otherwise, I would have been like, I got to get that. It took me a little bit longer. Kids these days. So that's it. We're all victims. We all have pain. We all have suffering. There's no way to measure if my pain is deeper or harder than Matt's, because we both have pain, and it's individual, and we have to collectively work together to bring each other through that. So I hope you guys have a great day. I know I'm going to have a great day. Remember, think of 3 to 5 friends and just be like, thinking about it. You can verbally say it as long as you're not saying it to them. Just be like, I hope this guy has a really nice day. I hope this person has a really nice day. I hope this chick has a really good day. And really, truly mean it. And you know what? It'll make you feel a little bit better, knowing that you might have helped impact their positivity for the day. And at the end of the day, you do that with 3 people, 5 people, 10 people. One of those people are going to have a great day. Maybe they'll post about, I just got that job I've been hoping for. And you're like, hey, you know what? Maybe me wishing for that actually helped. So have a great day. I'm thinking of all of you. I hope all of you have an amazing day. Because again, we got that sunshine out there. We got no excuses to not get outside, get a little bit of movement, get a little bit of air, get a little bit of vitamin D, and, enjoy the people that you have closest to you. Enjoy your family, your friends, your kids. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, go make some kids outside, maybe. I don't know. Have a great day. See you cats tomorrow.